Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into AI and copyright.
Oh, yeah.
It's fascinating, but also kind of unnerving, you know?
Yeah.
Our guide for this is a U.S. Copyright Office report, it's called. The title is a mouthful. Identifying the economic implications of artificial intelligence for copyright policy.
Wow, that's a long one.
But don't worry, it's not just legal stuff. This is about the future of art, like how we make it, how we experience it, all that.
It really is about asking the right questions. As AI gets more and more into the creative process, this report lays out the biggies, the ones we can't ignore.
I think that's what makes it so interesting.
For sure.
Like, okay, imagine this. AI makes a hit song, right? Top of the
Yeah.
charts.
Yeah.
Who owns the rights to that? What about the musicians, the songwriters, all the people we usually think of?
It all comes down to, I think, this question of authorship. This report, it really focuses on what calls generative AI. So that's AI that's actually making new stuff, not just like helping us. So that's things like ChatGPT, if you've used that for writing text, or those AI image generators that are everywhere now.
Oh, yeah.
Even some music software is getting really good at composing.
It's getting wild.
It is. It's like they're not just tools anymore. They're almost like co-creators.
And that's where it gets, like,
Mm.
really tricky, right? The report says that telling the difference between something an AI made versus a human, it's getting harder and harder.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
not like the old days, like, oh, that's a robot voice.
No, not anymore. I mean, just imagine. Imagine a future where, to figure out copyright, courts need proof of how you created something.
Whoa.
Like, did you really write that song? Or
Yeah,
did you just hit a button on some AI software? Think about having to prove that.
that's a lot.
It is.
So it's not just like the classic robots taking over art thing. It's
Yeah.
deeper, right? It
Oh,
changes what art, even I as who benefits.
totally.
And that leads to the money part, the economics of it all.
Mm.
Does AI making art, does it destroy value or does it actually add value?
That is the question, isn't it? This report really wrestles with that. On the one hand, you could have an AI that makes perfect copies of a famous painting.
Yeah.
Does that make the original less valuable? Or take music, right? An AI writes a song that sounds exactly like your favorite artist. Is that stealing their sound?
That's such a good point. It really makes you think, like, what makes an artist unique in the first place?
Right. But then the report flips it around. What if AI helps those who couldn't afford like a fancy studio or to hire other musicians to help them?
Okay, yeah.
So somebody who always wanted to make an album but never had the means, AI could be their way in.
That's a cool way to look at it.
Yeah, it's like it could democratize creativity, right? Make it open to way more people.
Mhm.
But the report's honest. We need a lot more research to know the full impact. Is AI a tool for artists or is it a weapon that hurts them?
It's a tough one.
It is.
And speaking of tough, copyright infringement.
Ooh, yeah.
Traditionally, it's been, did you copy? Did you have access to the original work?
Yeah.
But with AI, that whole thing goes out the window.
Yeah, because these AI models are trained on huge data sets. Like they're basically reading the entire internet, everything ever made.
Wow.
So good luck proving they didn't access something. It's like proving you didn't steal a melody, but it was one you heard years ago. Did it subconsciously influence you? Who knows?
So the big question then, I guess, is if an AI infringes, like breaks copyright, whose fault is it?
Right.
Is it the user, the person who told it to make something, or the company that made the AI?
Maybe both.
Or, like, neither? It's confusing.
The report even brings up this thing, the DMCA, that's the Digital Millennium Copyright Act and its safe harbor rules. Basically, websites aren't automatically in trouble if a USER uploads something copyrighted.
Right.
So could that kind of rule apply to AI developers? Like they made the tool, but they didn't tell it to infringe.
Man, that's a whole other deep dive we could do on just that.
Definitely.
But for now, let's switch gears a bit. Let's talk about you, me, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Our faces, our voices, and how AI makes the whole who owns that question really weird.
Okay, yeah.
This is where we get into rights of publicity.
Uh-huh.
So that's the right to control how your name, your image, all that is used commercially. Think about those deepfakes that are going around online.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine a podcast, right? But it's using AI to sound exactly like a famous comedian who's been dead for years.
Oh, wow.
Kind of creepy, right? But this isn't just a thought experiment. This happened. George Carlin's estate, they sued a podcast for using his AI-generated voice.
Seriously.
Yeah. They settled out of court, but it shows this is already happening.
So it's like, where's the line? Do singers own the rights to their AI voice? Can anyone use your face to make stuff? Who profits?
It's deep, and the report goes into the money side of it too. Is it about protecting how artists earn a living? Or are we heading to a world where it's corporations that control all this AI-generated stuff?
That's the key question.
And that brings us to maybe the biggest issue of all. The data that AI eats up.
Right.
AI models, they're trained on these massive data sets, and a lot of that is copyrighted stuff. So imagine an AI learns to paint by looking at thousands of paintings that artists own the rights to.
Okay.
Is that fair use? Or is that basically stealing from those artists?
It's like that whole debate we had years ago about, music piracy.
Oh, yeah?
Some people said, hey, downloading a song illegally, it doesn't hurt the artist. Those people wouldn't have bought it anyway. Others were like, no, this is destroying the music industry.
It was huge.
And now we're having that same argument, but about AI. Is it stealing creative work by using it to learn? Makes you think about your own stuff online, right? Have you ever downloaded a song illegally or watched a movie from, a sketchy website?
No comment.
Well, imagine that being used to train an AI. Suddenly, those little actions, they have big consequences.
Yeah, you don't think about it that way usually.
Nope. And the report even suggests that artists, if they're worried about their work being used without permission, might just hide it.
Oh, wow.
Lock it away so the public never sees it.
Which would be a shame for everyone.
Exactly. So this leads to a big question. Is the answer just to restrict what AI can access? Is that the solution?
Cut it off at the source.
That's where the report gets really interesting, I think, because it asks, what if that backfires? What if restricting AI actually hurts progress?
Wait, so instead of helping artists, we might be holding back something good.
It's possible, right? The report's point is AI needs data. It's like it's food.
Yeah.
If we restrict that, if we make it hard to get or expensive, it could slow down AI research and development. And not just in art.
Oh, true. Like, what if that prevents AI from being used to, I don't know, cure diseases or fight climate change?
Exactly. And it's not just those big things either. It could limit AI from making our everyday lives better,
Yeah.
New entertainment, helping us be more productive.
Yeah, it's not a simple good guy, bad guy situation.
Not at all. The report really wants us to think about all sides, the trade-offs, the economics of it all.
Because ultimately, it's about the kind of future we want to live in. A future where creativity is still happening, but technology is also moving forward. Where artists and AI can, exist together, maybe even work together.
Imagine that. Collaboration between humans and machines. Maybe it changes what art even means.
Whoa, mind blown.
The report also touches on something kind of personal, the motivation of artists themselves.
Like why they create in the first place.
Yeah, it's not just about money. It's about passion, the joy of making something new.
So how does AI being in the picture change that? Does knowing your work might be used to train an AI without you even knowing? Does that make you less likely to create?
It's a real question, and one the report spends a lot of time on. We'll dig into that more in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait.
Welcome back to our deep dive into AI and copyright. We're still trying to figure out this whole mess of AI and creative work,
Real puzzle.
In the last part, we were talking about controlling AI's access, and the report mentioned this idea of a blanket license for AI training.
Yeah, like what music streaming services use.
Exactly. So AI developers would pay a fee to access this huge pool of copyrighted stuff, right? To train their AI. And that money goes to the artists, the creators.
Okay, so when a song plays on the radio, the station pays, and that goes to the songwriter, the performers.
Right. But could that really work for AI? It seems way more complicated.
Yeah, with music, it's pretty clear how often a song's played. But with AI, how do you even know which data it used to make something new?
You're hitting on the key point. It's not like the AI is directly copying, right? It's absorbing all this info and then making something totally new. It could be completely different from the original stuff it learned from.
So how do you decide how much each artist gets from that licensing fee? It's not like, oh, the AI used this book 10 times, so the author gets X amount.
Exactly. Should a novelist get more than a poet, a photographer versus a filmmaker? It's almost like trying to measure the value of inspiration itself.
That sounds impossible.
The report kind of agrees there's no perfect formula. But it also says that even an imperfect system might be better than nothing.
Okay, yeah.
It's about finding a balance. Artists get something, but AI can still access what it needs to keep getting better.
So always adjusting, right? As AI gets smarter, And the line between human and machine creativity gets blurrier?
Absolutely. The report's
Yeah.
big on this. Ongoing research. Economists, legal experts, policymakers, they all got to work together to keep up with how fast this is all changing.
It's not just about, like, protecting big tech's profits either, right? It's about the future of human creativity, making sure artists can still make a living as AI gets more involved.
Exactly. And that leads to another point the report raises. What if regulating AI, like trying to control it too much, actually backfires?
So we're trying to help artists, but we end up making things worse.
It's a risk, yeah. The report makes it clear AI needs data. Like, it's essential. If we make that data scarce or super expensive to get, it could slow down all kinds of AI research.
And that could have effects beyond just art, right?
Absolutely. What if
Sure.
it slows down cures for diseases or progress on climate change? It's not just about the big world-changing stuff either. Restricting data could limit how AI improves our daily lives, you know? New ways to entertain us, make us more productive.
It's not as simple as, like, AI is bad or AI is good. It's way more nuanced.
The report really pushes for that nuanced view, understanding the economics, the trade-offs, all of it.
Because in the end, it's about what kind of future we want.
All right?
One where creativity still exists, but technology is also moving forward.
Right. Where artists and AI can coexist, maybe even collaborate.
Imagine that. Humans and machines making art together.
It could change what art even means. The report also brings up something kind of deep, you know? The intrinsic motivation of artists.
Like, what makes them want to create in the first place?
Yeah, it's not just the money, it's the passion, that drive to express yourself.
So how does AI change that? If you know your work might be used to train some AI without your say-so, does that make you create less?
It's a huge question, and
Yeah.
one the report really digs into. We'll get into that more in the next part of our deep dive.
Welcome back to, this is the final part now of our deep dive into AI and copyright. We've been talking about the economics, the creative side, how AI impacts artists, all that.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
In the last part, we were getting into something I think really important, the motivation of artists themselves.
Right, like the core of what makes creativity happen.
Because at the end of the day, art isn't just algorithms and data sets, right? It's about passion, inspiration, that urge to make something meaningful.
Exactly. And this report, it really goes deep on how AI could affect that, like the artist's inner drive.
So the question is, if you know your work could be used to train an AI without you even knowing, without getting paid, does that change if you even want to create in the first place? Personally, I think it'd make me hesitant.
It's a real concern. For a lot of artists, the idea of their work being like absorbed by an AI, used however it wants, it feels wrong, like a violation, you know?
Yeah, it's like you pour your heart into a song, and then an AI uses it to make a jingle for a dish soap commercial. It just
Yeah.
doesn't feel right.
And it's deeper than just misuse. Some artists worry that AI-generated art, just by existing, makes human creativity less valuable.
Oh, interesting.
It's like, if anyone can make a decent painting or song with AI help, does that make what human artists do less special?
It's a big question, yeah. And the art world is definitely struggling with that right now.
For sure. And this has huge implications for artists' motivation. If they feel like their work's not worth as much or their skills aren't needed anymore, why keep creating?
That'd be a huge loss, I think, because even with all the cool stuff AI can do, human-made art, there's just something different about it.
Absolutely. There's emotion, a connection to what it means to be human that AI just can't fake.
So the question is, how do we protect that? How do we make sure artists still feel valued, even as AI gets more powerful?
Well, the report has some ideas. One is transparency. AI developers should be upfront about the data they're using and give artists a choice to opt out.
Okay, so like, hey, we're going to train our AI on this stuff. Is that cool with you?
Exactly. If artists have more control, they might be more okay with AI being this tool.
Makes sense.
Plus, it creates accountability. If an AI makes something clearly based on human work, that artist can actually do something about it.
It's like a digital fingerprint, tracing back where the inspiration came from.
Another suggestion is making separate categories for AI art. Like, label it clearly so it's not directly competing with human art.
So instead of pretending they're the same, we
Yeah.
just acknowledge they're different. Give AI art its own space to do its thing.
Right? And that might actually HELP human artists. By making the difference clear, you highlight what's special about human work, what AI can't copy.
Because AI might make technically good stuff, but it's missing that soul, that human touch.
And by acknowledging that, there's room for both kinds of creativity to exist.
Who knows, maybe this whole thing leads to totally new art forms. Humans and AI working together, making stuff we can't even imagine yet.
So that's exciting. This conversation reminds us that technology never stops changing and we got to keep up.
AI is a tool, right? And like any tool, it can be used in good ways or bad ways. We get to decide how we want to use it, especially when it comes to art and the people who make it.
Well said. So, as we wrap up our deep dive here, we've covered a lot: the economics, the challenges, the possibilities, and how crucial it is to protect creativity, even as AI keeps changing everything.
It's been a wild ride for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's made you think about some new stuff, ask some new questions.
The future of AI and art, it's not set in stone yet. By staying informed, being part of these conversations, we can all help shape what that future looks like.
Keep those brains working, everyone.
Yeah.
This is just the start of a much bigger conversation about art, technology, all of it. Thanks for joining us.